Hey guys, I think I've had the wrong philosophy with the ballast scissors. I keep thinking that my next design will be the final one. The one where I don't have to change anything. I know it won't be, but I act like it is just in case I get lucky. Then it's good, but it doesn't answer all the questions I think it will. The biggest thing stopping me from selling my scissors is the button. If I hand someone my scissors, they struggle to figure out how to press it. It's stuck. I can press it. I have the magic touch. I know how to hold it in just the right way so that I don't squeeze it or twist the handles in certain ways that put things out of alignment. But even with the right technique, sometimes I still have trouble. I've spent so much time scrapping designs and making new designs just because of this button, and I was worried I'd have to again. Turns out that was half true because I decided to try an aluminum handle design. People have asked me to make aluminum ballast scissors, probably because they know titanium is expensive. I resisted trying aluminum for two reasons. One, I was worried about the scissors wearing out quickly. I think that my older, inferior designs made me a little overly concerned about this. But just to be safe, these I made with 7075 aluminum, which is much stronger than the more common 6061 aluminum. For most of the time designing the ballast scissors, I wasn't sure I'd be able to balance the weight of the two blades. Luckily, the balance worked out with titanium, but I didn't really think it would be possible with aluminum. At some point, I tried designing handles with a simpler design. I thought it might be a good idea to make handles that could be made in 2 ops instead of 3, but I wasn't sure if it would work. I didn't have a ton of desire to make these handles, but then I realized that in aluminum, these simplified handles are actually almost exactly the same weight as my titanium design. So then I had to make them. And I'm so glad I did. It's totally changed my perspective on things. I'll talk more about the improvements in fixturing and machining I've done in my next video. Here, I just want to talk about other things I've learned. Wintergotten put out a video that's really helped me sort out a lot of thoughts I've been having. In his video, he shows a different video of the everyday astronaut talking to Elon Musk. Musk explains a 5-step design process that goes like this. 1. Make the requirements less dumb. 2. Try to delete the part or process. 3. Simplify or optimize. 4. Accelerate cycle time. And 5. Automate. The important part is the order of the process. People often end up going backwards and optimizing things that shouldn't exist. For SpaceX, this was making a rocket grid fin folding mechanism when it turns out the fins don't need a fold in. For Martin, he describes prioritizing form over function and feature creep as dumb requirements that slowed him down and hurt the reliability of his machine. In my last video, I tried to get super high accuracy with the surface grinder, and many people said that was a dumb requirement. Too tight of tolerances is an example of a dumb requirement, but in that video, I was just trying to learn surface grinding. I'm hoping I've designed things to not require overly tight tolerances, but I'm still trying to figure out the stickiness of the button. Speaking of which, one of the requirements I've had since the beginning was a click mechanism for the button. In Fusion, there's nothing stopping the button from sliding all over the place. So I assumed I'd need a ball detent or something. I modeled many different ideas. I found one I liked using a wire spring. I spent time optimizing how it's machined into the blades. I even looked into making a spring bending machine. I started with a thick wire, and then I went thinner and thinner and tried to optimize the groove depths in the pins. Then I realized the behavior I wanted was basically the same with no spring at all. I don't think I need a button click mechanism. I already designed things so the button can't be pressed at all unless the handles and blades are aligned in the right places. And then when they are aligned, there's magnets repelling the blades apart, creating tension on the pins. My problem has been that the button is too hard to press, not too easy. and the click mechanism just made it worse. I spent all this time optimizing when I should have tried deleting the part much sooner. And before that, I should have questioned the requirement of a button click mechanism in the first place. Very early on, I also created another dumb requirement. I decided I wanted all 4 handles to be the same part. Making 4 of the same part is easier than making 4 different parts. When I allowed myself to make different mirrored handles, it solved the problem of the button being able to be pressed when the scissors are open, again reducing the need for a button click mechanism. I had the same requirement with the blades. I wanted both blades to be the same, so I had them go together with a pin. This isn't the smartest idea when you have magnets repelling the blades apart. Now I've started using a screw like normal scissors. The time it would take to make slightly different parts is much less than the time I've spent trying to design functional ballast scissors with all these extra constraints. The first step is to make the requirements less dumb, but it can be hard to tell what's a dumb requirement. Maybe it's easier to think about it as trying not to over-constrain your problem, especially in the prototyping phase. I had a lot of early requirements. I wanted it to be functional as scissors and a balisong, of course, and I wanted it to be the size and weight and balance of a balisong. I wanted it to have tapered handles like a balisong. I wanted to have a single button, not 2. I wanted that button to also lock it in the closed position so I don't need a latch. I wanted it to be titanium, and I wanted interchangeable scales. And I also wanted to make all the parts myself. And many other things. All of these things were okay on their own, but the more requirements I added, the more time it took to get anywhere, and the more likely that solving the problem would be impossible. Past me wasn't satisfied with a straight-handled, 2-buttoned aluminum design, but maybe I would have given that idea more of a shot if I knew the alternative was waiting years to sell anything. I thought I was iterating kind of slow, but I didn't realize just how much faster I could go. All of these scissors have slight differences. This one's the most obvious. I've had this backup plan in my head for a while. 2 separate buttons should have less alignment issues than 1 button because less is moving at once. However, it's actually still kind of finicky pressing the buttons. And in this design, the pins move in opposite directions, which I found out is not very intuitive to people. Which means in the real world, turns out my backup plan isn't very good. I'm surprised, but also glad that I don't have to abandon the single button. Most of the other changes were more subtle. What I've realized is I don't need to change my design. The best one I made is just like my last titanium one. It just took a few tries to come up with better machining techniques and get the fit just right. Which is what I mostly suspected, but it's good I no longer have these what-if thoughts in my head. Also, actually using Loctite helps a lot. Now I'll try to start replicating the best one. Thanks for watching. See ya.